Hi, everyone, and welcome to Final Play Sports Wrap. I'm your host, Pete Lubar. We're talking Mountain West football today, and specifically, we're going to cover over the next several weeks each of the Mountain West football teams. Today, we're going to start with the Air Force Academy Falcons, based in Colorado Springs. The Falcons are coached by Troy Calhoun, who's in his 19th year. They were 3-4 in conference last year. They ended the season with 4 straight wins, beating Fresno, Oregon State, San Diego State, and Nevada. And so 4 good wins right at the end of the season. Looks like they pulled it together and maybe are in a good position to start this next year. They were 5-7 overall, which is the worst record that they've had since 2017 and 2018. In both those years, they were also 5-7. The heart of the Falcons team will be the defense, and Peyton Zadroic is a defensive lineman, middle of the line, and one of the best players in the conference. He's a guy who, when healthy, can wreck a game. And alongside him will be Daniel Grobe and Aiden Schwartz. So defensive line will be probably the most solidified and best position for the Falcons this year. At linebacker, they've got Blake Fletcher. Blake Fletcher is sort of the heart of the defense at linebacker. It'll be interesting to see who kind of surfaces beside him. They lost David Santiago, a transfer to Michigan State, and they lost Grant Ewell to graduation. So we're going to have to see who fights and climbs that depth chart and ends up playing beside him, but they should be fine. They've recruited well in that particular area. At edge, they'll have Jackson Adams on one side. Unfortunately, they lost Drew Dubuclet, fifth, who's very much in the starting mix and suffered a significant injury during camp. So his season is over early. Secondary is going to be really interesting and probably the weakest part of the defense. It looked like they had some nice impact players, and particularly Lincoln Tuati Mariner. Unfortunately, he transferred out and is taking his talents to Southern Utah this year. So that's going to be a problem. That there's some other guys, Kyle Chen, Houston Hendricks, Levi Brown, that are earning snaps, and we'll see which couple get back there. So we'll see. Caleb Chamberlain had a couple of pick sixes during spring camp, and to see if that carries over to fall. From an offensive side, the Air Force has been running the exact same offense for about 40 years. It's that option offense, triple option. I used to call it the 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but I remember when New Mexico ran it a few years back. New Mexico ran it for 400 or 500 yards a game. It was crazy. So it's an offense that can get you big chunks if people miss assignments, and it's designed to get people to miss assignments. So they run the ball well. They'll be one of the leaders in the nation in running. They will be one of the laggards in passing. They just don't pass very well and haven't for ever, honestly. They've had a couple of years where D. Dois was under center and they passed okay, but other than that, it's an option offense, and it's centered around the fullback. So we're going to start with quarterback. Last year they got some good quarterback play, especially those last 4 games from Quentin Hayes. But we don't know what's going on with Quentin Hayes. He did not participate in spring drills. He is listed at the academy on the roster, but I don't know whether he'll actually be available for this year or not. If he's not, Josh Johnson would be the logical successor. He's had a few game experience snaps, so he probably gets that reins handed over to him. But they've got another kid, Liam Cesarca, who is a Colorado product that they think can run that offense as well. So they'll one of those two guys likely if Quentin Hayes is not available. For a fullback standpoint, Cade Frew, not Cade Frew, but Dylan Carson Uh, he's a potential 1,000-yard rusher. He could lead the conference in rushing. He got dinged up early last season, but he's a guy who's more than capable of gaining rush yards. Um, and and then you've got the flanking group of backs. You got Cade Frew, is a guy that could see a lot of snaps. Caden Cloud, you could see. And then the way Air Force runs their offense, uh, you, your receivers or flankers are also guys who carry the ball. Cade Harris is a lethal weapon, and maybe the most lethal weapon they have from a speed standpoint on offense. He can catch out of the backfield. He can run. He can do that sweep. So end around, he's got a lot of capability there, and they got another kid named Taylor Latham. That's sort of same thing. They're both listed as wide receivers, but they're more like slot backs. So they'll have that, and then they've got a really good receiver uh, in Trey Robertson, if they can get the ball to him. So he's primarily a blocker, as the receivers are in this type of offense. But if he can get behind someone, he'll catch it and go for a touchdown. So um, they're going to have to get better at throwing the ball this year than they were last year, because they didn't run the ball very well, at least for the first few games. So that's kind of it. They got a tight end that looks to be in good shape, Bruin Fleischman. And they've got Parker Menifee. So a couple guys. And then the offensive line is mostly back from last year. So if the last 4 games are any indication, they should hit the ground running. Um, you've got Colston Cooley, you've got Alec Falk, you got Trevor Tate. They were all starters. And so they gelled a little bit at the end of the year, and so they should be okay. From a recruiting standpoint, Air Force doesn't bring in a lot of transfers, so they do recruit the high school ranks very heavily. They brought in 69 recruits. There's a few 3 stars, but most of them are unranked. The overall rank, according to 247 Sports, was 136th in the nation, so that's near the bottom, and 12th in the Mountain West. So part of the problem is the kids that they recruit, the recruiting guys just don't follow. They get the really smart kids. Maybe they're super athletic, but maybe a little smaller, and they grow them up and coach them up. And a kid who maybe not even hit the radar at this point, by the time he's a junior, is a serious stud and a 3 or 4 star guy. So I wouldn't read that much into it, and I wouldn't read very much into the overall rankings because, like I said, the people that do these sports rankings don't always follow the kids that go to a school like Air Force or Navy or Army. They had 13 kids who transferred out, so the portal wasn't too bad for them. The big losses were David Santiago, is a linebacker who transferred to Michigan State. He's a good-sized linebacker. He had 32 tackles, led the team in sacks. He'll be missed. They have a monster behemoth-style offensive lineman by the name of Tyler Lawrence, 6'4", 300 pounds. He transferred to New Mexico, so they will play each other during the year. And then defensive back Lincoln Tuiati Mariner is a safety. He left for Southern Utah. So those will be the big key losses for the Air Force Academy this year. From a season scheduling standpoint, it doesn't look too bad. They start with Bucknell on August 30th, and then they jump right into conference. So they start and play Utah State. That'll be an interesting matchup because Coach Mendenhall, who coached at New Mexico last year, beat Air Force early in the season last year, and I assume he'd have a similar approach with Utah State. So whether he can replicate that feat or not, that we shall see. But they got Utah State, so right away conference game, and then they get Boise at home. So 2 tough games sort of, and then Hawaii team's greatly improved as well. So they play Hawaii, and then they go to Navy. So that stretch between September 13th and October 4th will, in a great part, determine how good a season Air Force is going to have. And then they followed up with UNLV. So on the 11th, UNLV comes into town. UNLV is expected to be one of the best teams in the Mountain West this year, despite the coaching change. And then they end up the season. They've got Wyoming, and then they get a break, and then they play Army at home. So that should be fun. And then the season, San Jose State's not an easy game. They get UConn, which probably will be an easy game. And then they get New Mexico, who we don't know what to expect from New Mexico. They're basically starting with a whole new team this year. And then they finish up the year with Colorado State. So I look at the schedule like this. They're probably going to be 5-7 or 6-6. Let's say they get wins over Navy, New Mexico, Wyoming, Bucknell, UConn, and Utah State, and probably losses to CSU, Boise, UNLV, San Jose State, Hawaii, and Army's a good team right now. So that's sort of the update on them. I hope you enjoyed this. Next week we'll tackle Boise. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe to my YouTube page. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me out. And other than that, I hope you all had a great day and have a great week. Thanks, and have a great week. And a great week. And thanks so much. And bye.